April 8, 1864. Western Louisiana. A Union army, 30,000 strong, marched deep into Confederate territory. They came with gunboats. They came with cavalry. They came with confidence. They expected to take Shreveport, crush Confederate resistance west of the Mississippi, and bring Texas to its knees. Instead, they ran headlong into Texans. A federal officer would later write,
"The enemy came out of the woods with a yell that seemed to shake the earth."
The yell was Texan, and by nightfall, the road to Shreveport was choked with broken wagons, abandoned artillery, and a retreating Union army. This was the Battle of Mansfield. In the spring of 1864, Union General Nathaniel Banks launched the Red River Campaign. His objective was ambitious: capture Shreveport, destroy Confederate forces in Louisiana, and possibly push into Texas itself. If successful, Texas would be isolated, its men cut off, its resources seized, its pride wounded. Standing in his way, Major General Richard Taylor. Taylor commanded a smaller army, but at its heart were Texans. They were farmers, clerks, ranchers, blacksmiths, and schoolboys, boys from the Brazos, the Trinity, the Colorado, from the piney woods of East Texas to the wide, wind-swept plains beyond the Guadalupe. They had fought at Galveston, at Bayou Teche, at Bisland. They had marched through mud and heat. They had buried friends along distant roads. Now, they would stand together in the pine forests of Louisiana and defend the gateway to Texas itself. April 8, 1864. The road near Mansfield was narrow, choked with wagons, hemmed in by pine forest. Union forces advanced in fragments. Richard Taylor saw his opportunity. He ordered the Texans forward. A soldier of the 18th Texas later recalled,
"The order was given to charge. We sprang forward with a shout and drove them from their position."
Walker's division struck first. The line surged forward, Texans advancing through smoke and timber. A federal officer wrote, "They came in heavy masses, yelling like demons." The Union line bent, then broke. Texans captured artillery, wagons, hundreds of prisoners. One Texan wrote simply, "The Yankees ran." But the victory came at cost. Among the fallen was General Alfred Mouton of Louisiana. And yet, the Texans pressed on. By nightfall, the Union Army was in full retreat toward Pleasant Hill. Mansfield was a resounding Confederate victory, and Texans had delivered it. The next morning, April 9th, the Union Army made a stand at Pleasant Hill. Fresh reinforcements had arrived. The fighting would be brutal. A soldier of the 22nd Texas remembered, "The fire was terrible. Men fell on every side." Texans advanced again, across open ground, into artillery, into musketry. One cavalryman later recalled, "We rode as if the fate of Texas itself depended upon it." The Union line staggered. For hours, the battle swayed. But as evening fell, the field belonged to the Confederates. Union General Banks would retreat, not just from Pleasant Hill, but from the entire Red River Campaign. The invasion of Texas had failed. Pleasant Hill was a victory. The Union Army was retreating. Texans had broken the Red River Campaign. But the fighting was not yet over. Union gunboats still struggled down the Red River, and Confederate cavalry rode hard along the banks, harassing, pressing, refusing to let the enemy escape untouched. At their head rode one of Texas's most aggressive leaders, Major General Thomas Greene. Greene was a veteran of Valverde, of Galveston, of the Texas cavalry raids that had bloodied Union forces across Louisiana. His men called him fearless. Some called him reckless. A Texas cavalryman later wrote, "General Greene was always at the front, where the fire was hottest." In mid-April 1864, as Union Admiral David Porter's fleet struggled to navigate the falling Red River, Greene's cavalry shadowed them from the shore. On April 12th, near Blair's Landing, Texans opened fire on the gunboats. The Federals answered with naval artillery. Massive shells screamed from the river. One eyewitness recalled, "The boats poured grape and shell into the timber, tearing trees like matchsticks." Greene rode forward. Too far forward, a shell exploded near him. Fragments struck him down. He was killed instantly. He was 39 years old. For the Texas cavalry, it was a crushing blow. One soldier wrote simply, "We have lost our bravest." The Red River Campaign would end in Confederate success, but Texas had paid for it in blood, and one of her finest cavalry leaders now lay dead along the banks of the river he had fought to defend. The Red River Campaign was the largest Union offensive west of the Mississippi, and it ended in defeat for the North. A Union officer admitted, "The expedition was a failure." For Texas, Mansfield and Pleasant Hill were proof that Texas soldiers could defend their homeland, proof that they could break a larger army, proof that the Lone Star spirit still burned in 1864. A Texan wrote home, "We have whipped them handsomely." In the pine forests of Louisiana, far from home, the men of Texas proved once more they were Lone Star warriors. If you enjoyed this episode, we invite you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future installments of Lone Star Warriors, Texans in the Civil War. Thank you for watching and for helping us keep their history alive.